Very special guest with me, Mrs. Kathy-Ann Bristo, and we are going to be going through her journey of breast cancer, her survival story,
Yeah.
you know? And so I want you to tell me you've had this surgery, now you're having your biopsy reports being read to you. Um, what is going on in your mind in the office at that
Right.
time?
So, I think it was Glorious Saturday. Um, I had to go remove the stitches, and so it was an afternoon appointment. My husband and I, we went to have the sutures removed, and when I got there, my doctor was saying to the nurse, "Oh, okay, you go ahead and say somebody else is going to remove the sutures." So he said, "It's okay. She knows what she's doing." So, and at that point, when she started, both himself and my husband went out of the room. At that
Okay.
point, the delivery person was there with the results.
Mm,
So I, I had no thought that this could be cancer.
right.
Really, absolutely no thought. And so my one thing I noticed, my husband did not come back in the room. The second thing I noticed was that my doctor couldn't look me in the eye. So I know something is wrong. So
Wrong.
he said to me, I'm going to make an appointment for you to see me at my office. It's going to be an hour long. Okay, hour long. And
Mm,
he said, well, okay, so my secretary will slot the time for you and all of that. Just give a call, let her know who you are, and we move from there. Okay, great.
yes.
So I got dressed, and on the way home, my husband took a different route. So I said, what's happening here? I want to just back up one step.
Sure.
Actually, the Friday before, I I had some little Bible verses on my desk. And for some reason, I wanted to skip forward to Sunday. And so when I pulled the Sunday, it read, with an everlasting love hath I loved thee, therefore with loving kindness hath I drawn thee. That is in Jeremiah. And that verse just jumped out and into my heart. I remembered it verbatim.
Wow. Yes.
And so when I noticed my husband taking a different route, I said, "What's up?" He said, I wasn't going to say anything, but I spoke to my friend and he said to me, you deserve to know. And he said to me, the results came back and you have cancer. At that point, everything within me broke
Yes.
and the tears started to flow.
Mm.
And it felt like those cartoons where the tears were just pelting out of my
Can't
eyes,
stop.
you
Yes.
know?
Can't
And
stop. Yeah.
all I could have said at that point was, Father, I know that you love me. And
Yes.
that verse, that scripture verse, with an everlasting love,
Everlasting love.
hath I loved thee, therefore with loving kindness hath I drawn thee. And that verse just kept me. And I got home. We decided that we were not going to tell the children just yet. And so it was a real tenuous time, you know. Um, when we did, he gave me a letter and stuff, and then we had to do a second surgery because he said, listen, since this thing is cancerous, we need to go in and remove the nodes under the arm. So we did that. And in doing that, as soon as I came out of the hospital, I had to walk the wall with my arms. So you started at arm's length and you walked into the wall until your hands were straight on the wall in all
Okay.
of that pain. So you had
Right.
to do it because it
Yes.
prevents the swelling or the edema in the arm. So I was obedient and I did it with all the pain. Um, at that point, at the second surgery, we decided to let Christopher at least know, my son, know
Yes.
what was happening. And he asked me he said, Mommy, two questions. Um, could you go away and get medical assistance for this? And I said, yes, that could be an option. And then he said, Mommy, could you die from this? I said, it's a possibility, but it's not one that I am entertaining. And so that journey started. I got a letter to go to an oncologist, very renowned guy. And well, he started, I at that point I had to do, it was triple negative breast cancer, which is the most aggressive
Mm.
breast cancer type. Um, and so they we started a regime of chemotherapy. So I did 8 cycles of chemotherapy, 30 days of radiation or radiotherapy. And um, those chemotherapy sessions were
Yes.
horrible.
Tell
If
us
I
how it affected you, how it
All
affected your
right.
body.
So there was this drug in those days called adrenomycin. To
Mm.
date, I cannot drink or look at um, orchard cherry because every
Oh,
time I saw that box and I saw the color of the drink, it reminded me of the drug.
right.
And what was it? My first chemotherapy. Now my mom passed away from liver cancer. So, they were asking, it couldn't have started there. So where did it start? I did not know.
Right.
And my first chemotherapy session was at St. James. And while we were there, the the doctor there, I saw this vial, this tray with vials come in. And I'm saying, who is all of that for? And he said, for you. I said, what? And he just proceeded to put in the access and he started injecting this thing into me, my nostrils, all the hair started burning me, and the
Wow.
tears started to flow again. And
And this was
got,
instantly, as
yeah,
soon as you started getting the medication.
yeah.
Mm.
And I got home. My skin started to look ashy one time. And by Saturday morning, I got off of my bed and the vomiting started. I was, very weak. And my mother-in-law was over that Saturday morning with us. And my husband had gone out. And when he came back and he saw me, he said, no, no. He called the oncologist and he said to him, get her here right now. And we did. And they had to put me on drips and the works.
Right.
And so every 3 weeks, I would be hit with this chemotherapy. So he asked me, he said, you have insurance? I said, yes. He said, well, let's do it privately. And we did.
Okay.
And um, on my third, whenever the third was, 9/11. I remember
Mhm.
specifically 9/11 was that fateful Tuesday.
Yes, for the young ones who don't know what 9/11 was, that
Yes,
was when they flew
bombing.
planes
Yes,
into the World
into
Trade
Trade
Center.
Center.
Yes,
Yes,
we of our age and older would
yes,
never forget.
yes. So
Yes,
we the Friday I had chemotherapy. A friend of mine who had an exam, my mother-in-law couldn't be with me, and all had to go to work. The children were off to school. And she decided, here's what, I'm going to come and stay. I have an exam, but I'll stay in the other room and, keep company.
right,
And I didn't even know how bad I was sinking. And she called. Thank God she did. Thank God she was there. She called Arnold and she told him, get home now. And he came. He just had to scoop me up off of the bed to a private nursing home, and they worked on me.